Track Record with your hosts Mike Shea and Robert Yetter. Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Track Record. My name is Mike Shea.
I'm Robert Yetter.
Yeah, you are. And it's like literally like the beginning of a new month. It's day 2 of a new month, and so that means we're going to talk about what we thought were the best albums of April, because April comes before May, which makes it last month. So that's what we're going to talk about. There you go, kids. I just taught you something.
So logical.
Right? I know. It just makes so much sense. See, last week we had our last week was the off the record that we got to do together, like in the same room. It was wild. It
was. We were just conversing. Hardcore.
I'm so not used to recording with Robert in the same room. I almost felt like I had to go in another room and jump on Skype and do it that way just to make it feel comfortable. But it was fun.
It was fun. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Oh man, I know at one point we
schwammered.
Oh yeah, I mean we were shooting tequila the whole time, and at one point we devolved into a conversation about sitcoms and Bill Cosby, and just
did we
all kinds of things. Yeah, that's I listened to it the other day, so I'm getting flashbulb memories of it. But
cool.
Yeah, it was good.
I hope it was entertaining.
I hope the folks liked it. We had a pretty good day today, I think, Robert. I think we had a good day. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yes.
What'd you do today?
Well, today I worked, but I also had a lovely conversation with a famous person, really.
Yeah, no.
In my eyes.
I agree.
If you recall, Internet, a few episodes back.
Actually, it was about a month. It was last month's best of the previous month episode.
That's right. We did an episode that included Judas Priest and a band called Chaos Star. We were contacted today by the singer from Chaos Star, and just kind of had a conversation. She was very, excited that we liked the album, and it was very nice.
Well, it was a very, very nice conversation. I didn't realize they were in Greece, so I felt bad that we kept her up as long as we did. Because she finally was like, okay, so I got to go to bed because it's really late here in Greece. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Go to bed.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, an artist kind of reached out to a fan, and so she had listened to the podcast, and it was really cool. She just pretty much said thank you for listening and supporting us. And everyone needs to go check out Chaos Star. The album's called The Undivided Light. Really good shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to listen to the album after we did the episode and was just like, oh my god, this is so good. So definitely go give that one a listen, especially now that the vocalist was nice enough to listen to our show. It would be remiss if we didn't encourage you all to go check out the album like we did last month. So we're telling you again, if you still haven't listened to it, go listen to that shit.
Yeah. It's on Bandcamp. Pick it up for $10.
And if you're not doing what I do and just like once or twice a week perusing Bandcamp for new music, you're seriously missing out. There's some good stuff on Bandcamp. If you just get the app or go on the website and just window shop, you'll find some great stuff.
Yeah, like they have when you're on an artist's page at the very bottom, they're going to have kind of recommendations. Even some of them will be recommendations from that particular artist. Or in other cases, it'll be a similar genre or something like that. But Bandcamp is nice.
Mm-hmm. And what's great is that most of the money that you spend is going back to the band, and a lot of bands will give you the option or the opportunity to get some stuff for free or for really cheap. And you can always just stream stuff for free. It's a great website. So if you're not on the Bandcamp train, buy a ticket and hop on board, because you will have a good time.
Yes, sir.
So it is, like we said, the beginning of May, so it's time for us to talk about what we thought were the best albums of the previous month, which was April. And I have no idea what Robert has today, and I don't think he has any idea what I have. He might. But I think this is going to be... these are always my favorite episodes to do, because it's just a great chance for us to gush about some good music and share it with you guys.
It's your favorite word. Gush.
Gushing. Oh, yeah.
Yes, we are certainly going to gush.
Oh, yeah. Gushing's going to happen.
So, here begins my gush. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
So, excuse me. I'm going to kind of throw somewhat of a curveball, and I'm going to pick something a little different for today's episode. Instead of a new release in the normal sense of that phrase, I have picked a newly released live CD/DVD in support of a record that came out in 2014. That record is The Satanist by Behemoth, and the live CD/DVD is titled Messe Noire, which released on April 13th. I don't actually have my hands on this yet, but I did listen to, they had a full stream on YouTube from the record label of the vinyl. Actually, it's a 2 LP collection, and it was breathtaking, really great. Just the way that Behemoth sounds live translates very well to that. I mean, this is pretty much the conclusion to the Satanist tour that they've been doing ever since like 2016. They've been going everywhere and playing the album pretty much front to back for like 2 years. And these dudes, and it's pretty much like their best album that they've ever made, The Satanist. If you look at the reviews of it, it is just astronomically high rated. It's 92 on Metacritic. Just anything less than like 8.5 stars is just not there. It's really, really great. It's Behemoth has really been my favorite death metal band for a few years now. I kind of hopped on the Behemoth train kind of late. I mean, The Satanist is their 10th album, I believe. Not including EPs or anything like that, or live albums. They've had like 5 live albums, like 7 EPs, just a ton of music from these guys. They've been making music since the mid-90s. But this is really a very focused album. And for this live collection, you get, if you get like the Blu-ray CD combo, you get, they've got video of 2 shows that they did back in 2016, and then you've got 6 music videos included on there, and then you've got the album The Satanist is included on there. I I can't tell if the CD is like a live version of the Satanist or if they just give you the Satanist. I'm not sure. But it's the same 9 songs in the same order on that CD. I was I was going to go for something different for this episode. I was actually going to choose an actual new release. I'll give it an honorable mention. It's an album called Epitaph by God is an Astronaut. If you're familiar with God is an Astronaut, they are a post-rock band. And they verge on a little bit of metal here and there. But post-rock is one of my loves, because I am in a partially post-rock band with my best friend Mitch Ooze. That's actually not how you say his name, but that's how people try and pronounce his last name. Ooze. His name's Mitchell Uz, and he is God. So post-rock is very close to my heart. But back to the Satanist and this great live CD, Messe Noire, which actually means Black Mass in French. Listen, the Behemoth is, for me, the perfect death metal band. The way that they execute their stuff live is astounding. They're brutal, artistic, dark, satanic, and melodic. Everything you want death metal to be. And something about their sound just clicks with me. It sits very well. It's like, you remember when I was talking before, I found this album. It was the epitome of what I thought death and doom should sound like together. And this is kind of like that, but it's just with death metal. This is exactly how I expect death metal to sound, and they deliver it for me. I love their style so much. And obviously they put on a hell of a show. They've been touring for a really long time. Seeing them would be an absolute dream come true. But apparently they are working on a new record that should be released either later this year or early next year. Nobody's really sure, but I cannot wait for that. They don't, they take their time with their records. I was watching an interview with the lead guy Nurgle, who actually he beat leukemia, which was one of the big things back a few years ago. He came back from that, and I just lost my train of thought. Uh-ohs. Oh no! Oh yeah, but the interview, and he was really kind of it wasn't just Behemoth has to put out an album, right? It was like we have to make sure that this next Behemoth record is like the best thing that we've ever done, and so they're really taking their time on it. They're going a little faster than like a Tool pace, but but it'll be out eventually. So there you go. Everyone pick up Messe Noire. You can get it on Behemoth's main website. They've got some like limited edition stuff, so you can get autographed guitar picks and all kinds of shit on their site. They also have, which I love too, is they have great merch. Behemoth does. They have just really cool shirts and shit. Like I forget what you call them, like full graphic, like where the entire shirt is like graphicked up. They're pretty cool. Behemoth, everyone, go check that shit out. If you are a metal person and you haven't heard of Behemoth, then what the F's?
I think everybody's at least heard of Behemoth. If not, they're living under a fucking rock. Well, you mentioned wanting to go see them live. They're hitting Tinley Park, Illinois on the 25th of May. Holy
munchies.
And they're going to be around here in Cincinnati on June 6th at Riverbend. So they're coming through on tour right now. I really like Behemoth. Behemoth's a great band. One of my favorite albums of theirs, you'll enjoy the title, is called Evangelion.
Yes.
It's the lead single off that one, Of Fire and the Void, is so good. It's a great album. Behemoth's been around for fucking ever, and they're known for just cranking out music. I don't think there's ever been more than like 2 years between any album they've put out.
Yeah, I mean, these last few have been kind of a little bit more spaced out, but, you know, I mean, just judging on, you look at how much they tour, like, it's insane.
Oh, yeah, they go on tour for, over a year. And they're just, so dedicated.
They started this Satanist tour in 2016, and it's still going.
Yeah, no, they don't stop. They just go and go and go and go and go and go. And that's awesome.
Man, you said the 25th.
Yeah, that is a Friday.
Yep, I'm going to be on my way to South Carolina then.
Oh, yeah, you got to go pick up the family.
Yeah, man.
Oh, well, that's fine. We like them.
Oh, well. Yes. Family's better.
It's true. We like the family. They're fine. They can stick around, I guess.
I guess.
Man. So you going to give this thing a score, or you just going to say, it's good, go listen to it?
It's good, go listen to it. Infinity stars.
Yeah, man. Behemoth's good shit. If you haven't checked out Behemoth and you're a death metal fan, what the fuck is wrong with you? I haven't listened to this particular album. The Evangelion is probably the only one I've listened to beginning to end. I like Behemoth. It just wasn't one that was always easily accessible for me for a long time. So I listened to it when I could.
I hear you.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to dip out for a quick second and take a short break. And when we come back, I'll talk about my favorite album of April, since I'm going to adhere to the rules of this episode. So we'll be right back. Nothing brings people together quite like the movies, and every week Aaron Lopez wants you to join him in a discussion about the latest and greatest in the world of film. So grab a drink, grab some popcorn, and get comfy. Come join Aaron and friends every Thursday at The Drive-In, presented by Eventide Entertainment.
You know, there's nothing quite as satisfying as a good conversation with intelligent company.
Join comedian Don Smith every week as he sits down and talks with comedians, actors, filmmakers, writers, and everyday schmoes. It's The Life with Don Smith, Wednesdays at noon on 106.9 FM, and now available on the Eventide Entertainment podcast feed every Friday on Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes.
Looks like we've got a mystery on our hands, folks. Mike Shea, along with Eventide Entertainment and the Neon Movie Theater, will be premiering his newest short film, Monarch, a neo-noir detective mystery set right here in the Gem City, Dayton, Ohio. The event will be held on Thursday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m., and you can be a part of the process. Just go to www.gofundme.com/Monarch Film Premiere, and you can donate to make this one real night to remember. Lots of rewards and gifts for those who donate, including free tickets, concessions, posters, and movie downloads. Tickets are only $5 and can be picked up at the Neon box office. Mark your calendars for May 17th. It's a night with the detective, and you don't want to miss it.
We're back. It's Track Record. Are you sleepy?
Am I sleepy? Yes, I had a big yawn. No, I'm drinking, and drinking makes me sleepy. So.
What are you drinking?
Kahlua smoothie.
Kahlua smoothie.
Kahlua smoothie again. It was so good, I had to have another one. Nah, because I've still got a lot of editing and stuff to do tonight. So I'm drinking away, having some fun with it, trying not to hate myself while I do it. Because if I don't drink while I edit, I learn to hate editing, and then I don't do it anymore. So
I hear you. Plus, it's like footage of yourself.
Yeah. I hate my own voice and my own ugly fucking face. So I'm gonna stare at myself on screen for hours. It's like, ugh. So
yeah, there's this intimate moment I have with myself, like specifically on this song that I'm working on now. I pitch correct my voice, not too different from like in auto tune. Mm-hmm. But it's more, I'm just like manually correcting the pitch to make it sound a little bit more electronic, perfection.
Right.
And so there's nothing more intimate than just like listening to like a note that you did not hit, like with no surrounding music or anything. It's just like the bare voice with no effects or anything on it. Typically what I do is I'll record, a verse or whatever, and then I'll automatically, before I even listen to that raw, I'll pop it into the mixer and put like some reverb on it, mix it a little bit, and then I'll listen to it. And so that saves me from having to listen to the raw file, which probably sounds like garbage. But in this particular instance, I have to listen to the raw file, and I'm just like, it's like, like it holds out the notes and shit if you like keep the cursor on it. Anyway, I'm getting too deep into this, but yes, I feel you. Fuck my voice. Fuck your voice. Fuck us. Fuck the world.
Well, with that being said, odd segue. The album I'm picking from last month is called The Shadow Theory, and it's by a band we both enjoy called Kamelot.
Why did you say that?
Kamelot.
I didn't think that you said you didn't know. Wait, you said I wasn't going to guess what you got. You said I might know it, but I definitely knew that.
I didn't know if you knew I was going to do Kamelot or not. Hey, just be happy. I almost did Breaking Benjamin. Just to get on your nerves.
They have a new album?
Yeah, it came out like a week or two ago.
Bullshit.
But
how
anyway,
was it?
So it was.
Let's
I
talk
it was
about
really
it.
Good.
Breaking Benjamin. No, I
We're
don't.
not
I'm
talking
just
about
fucking with you.
Yeah. Anyway, so Kamelot, The Shadow Theory. This is the follow-up to their album Haven, which was released in 2015. Haven was the first album the band did completely with new vocalist Tommy Karavik. They had done one with him previously called Silverthorn that was kind of half-written when he joined the band. So when he came in to do Haven, that was kind of his real test of, all right, let's see him do a whole album on his own with these guys. And Haven took the world by fucking storm. Like just shining, glimmering stars everywhere from all the critics. So when it came time for them to put up a follow-up to Haven, the microscope was on him. The people were really looking at him. And as a result, I do feel like, especially from me, my own expectations may have been a little bit high. Because the first time I listened to the album all the way through, I was a little underwhelmed. But I kind of sat back, listened to Haven again, and was like, Haven was a life-changing metal album. And so, my expectations for them to do something of that caliber again, if not better, may have just been a little misplaced. So I went back and gave it another shot, kind of just appreciating it for what it was on its own, and I found I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more. That being said, I put this album in the same tier of Kamelot albums like Ghost Opera, which Ghost Opera was an album that had a lot of big hits on it, but it definitely had a lot of songs that were not up to par with some of there were some songs that were like really fucking good and a lot of songs that were decent. The Shadow Theory, again, has quite a few songs that are heavy and dark and awesome and really show how the band has come with their songwriting. And there are some that you listen to and you're just kind of like, yeah, no, that was a song. It was good. But I feel like the good heavily... let me phrase that. I feel like the awesome heavily outweighs the good. Haven, the predecessor, was an album that blew my mind. The Shadow Theory did not blow my mind. It did rock my world, but it did not blow my mind. That being said, it was great with this album to see them really bring in some new blood a little bit, both in features and in actual bandmates. Casey Grillo, who had been their drummer since day one, had in the time when before they were producing the album, had been filling in on tour with Queensryche, and had started his own drumhead company, and had decided he wanted to focus more on that. So he departed the band and was replaced by a drummer named Johan Nunez, who's been the drummer for Firewind for like ever. And he came in and did the drums on the album and took his place as a drummer for the band. And that transition between drummers is seamless. Nunez is a ridiculously talented drummer. This guy has played for, like I said, Firewind, Night Rage, Meridian Dawn, Suicide of Demons. He's worked with Gus G a lot. He's a great drummer. So him coming in, he felt like a really good natural fit. One thing Kamelot has always been known for is bringing in guest vocalists from other bands who are maybe a little lower on the totem pole as far as their success or notoriety, and really giving them a place to shine and help draw attention to their own band. They do that again on this album. They bring in two wonderful female vocalists. One is a woman named Lauren Hart from the band Once Human. And what I like about Lauren Hart, and I'm going to circle back to her in a little bit, but what I like about Lauren Hart is she does not only singing vocals, but also death growls as well. And they also brought in Jennifer Haben from the band Beyond the Black to do guest vocals on one of the ballads. Per the usual, this album is produced by Sasha Paeth, who has produced all of their albums, works heavily with them on the guitars, provides growling and screaming vocals on several songs on all their albums. He does so on this one on a song called The Proud and the Broken, which I'll talk about in a minute here. And as I said, the drums are now done by Johan Nunez, who does a fantastic job. The other guys in the band, Tommy Karavik, his vocals are on point as always. Thomas Youngblood shows he's one of the best guitarists in metal working right now. Sean Tibbetts on the bass is always great. You actually get to hear a lot more of the bass on this album than you have in previous Kamelot albums, and he really kind of gets his own moment to shine. And Oliver Palatine on the keyboards is a fucking god, and I mean, what else can you say about him? But I do want to come back and talk about... What can you say about Oliver Palatine? He is the god of keyboard players in metal. Fuck anybody else. I do want to talk about Lauren Hart, though. Lauren Hart has some clean vocals on the song Phantom Divine, as well as growl vocals on that song, and she does some death growls on the song Mindfall Remedy. Now, prior to this album, on both Silverthorn and Haven, Kamelot had the vocalist Elisa White-Gluse featured pretty heavily, especially on Haven. And when they first started bringing her in, it was when she was the vocalist of a band called The Agonist. She has since become the vocalist for the band Arch Enemy. And I was really glad to see them get away from using Elisa White-Gluse again. It's not that Elisa White-Gluse isn't talented. I'm not the biggest fan of her as a person. And to see them go back to their roots of bringing in other talent, fresh talent, and giving someone else a chance to shine and have some attention drawn to them was really great. And I feel like Lauren Hart's vocal style fits a lot better with Kamelot. With whenever you had Elisa Whiteloose on a song, it never felt like it. It never felt like it was part of the band. It felt like, oh look, a feature vocalist. Lauren Hart's feature moments on the songs feel a lot more organic and natural, and I feel like they just fit better. I feel like she's a better fit.
Like they actually wrote the song with the person.
Yeah, like she had a bigger hand in the song production, as opposed to, all right, let's leave room here for this person to come in and do some shit. They said, no, let's actually work together and come up with something that makes sense. So I like that a lot. Again, the stuff they did in the past with Elisa Whiteloose was fine. It was actually really good because she's very talented. But Elisa Whiteloose is an ego, and I don't mean that necessarily in a negative sense, but she is, like, she's a big star now. And so having her on there always felt like, it's like, hey, look, it's Kamelot and Elisa Whiteloose rather than just Kamelot. So, some of the big shining songs on this album, my personal favorite is a song called Mindfall Remedy, which, again, features Lauren Hart doing some scream vocals. And what I love is the song really incorporates elements of, like, industrial metal as well as their symphonic power metal sound. And her scream sections are fantastic. There's a beautiful ballad on here called In Twilight Hours, which is featuring Jennifer Haven, who I mentioned earlier. There's another song on here called Static, it's a slower song. It's definitely a ballad, but I think it's one of the more powerful ballads I've heard come out of Kamelot in a long time. And then one of the last songs on the album, called The Proud and the Broken, features their producer Sasha Paeth on additional guitars and growl vocals. And that song is just unbelievably haunting. It is fierce, and it creeps up on you, starts off slow, but gets faster and gets heavier. And then it just devolves into this just brutal scream section where you're pretty sure the world is ending in the most wonderful way possible. I got the bonus CD, which comes with like some bonus tracks and some instrumental tracks, which is cool, and that's awesome. But the album itself, this is the second time, because Haven was an album that people weren't sure was a concept album or not, because there seemed to be some kind of theme going in the music, because Kamelot's known for their concept albums. It was hard to tell if there really was some kind of story or central ideal going with the music, but all the songs seem to have some grand uniformity. And I will say Shadow Theory, for the most part, does continue that trend. Even the artwork on the album looks vaguely similar to the artwork for Haven, which kind of makes people think this might be some kind of continuation of whatever was going on Haven into this newest album. So, while, like I said, the album has a lot of really great standout tracks, a lot of the other ones, while good, aren't necessarily memorable. You've got maybe 5 or 6 really memorable tracks on here, and the rest of them are good. They're just not ones that I'm going to go back and revisit quite often. I think what's going to end up happening is this album is going to be one that I'm going to pick my favorites off of and then just kind of move on, rather than something like Haven where I'm going to start the album at the beginning and listen to it all the way to the end. The Shadow Theory, while very good, is one that I'm probably going to skip around on and just listen to my favorites. So, but in no way is this a bad album. This is not a bad album. There's no song on here that makes me go, ew, God, this is bad. They definitely evolved their songwriting a bit. Like I said, there's several songs that incorporate elements of industrial metal. You can tell they played around with different guitar and keyboard effects for some of the songs. They got a little more creative, I felt, as far as the lyricism goes. And having the addition of 2 brand new vocalists that they've as featured acts that they've never worked with before in the past was kind of brought some freshness to it. So I really enjoyed that a lot. So I still recommend everybody go grab this thing and listen to it and give it a go. Maybe you'll like it a lot more than I did. Maybe you'll hate it. I don't know. I hope you like it as much as I did, at least. I really did enjoy it. It did well critically. Danger Dog gave it a 5 out of 5. Sputnik gave it 4 out of 5. Sea of Tranquility gave it 5. It pretty much got it, at least a B, if not better, from everybody. And it peaked at number 7 on the U.S. top hard rock albums, and number 26 on the U.S. rock albums, and number 141 on the Billboard 200. So it's one of their higher charting albums, especially in the U.S., because Kamelot's a band that's huge overseas. They're huge in Europe and Asia, and they're not a band that usually gets a lot of notoriety in the States very often. So their last few albums, the ones with Tommy, Silverthorn Haven and Shadow Theory, have done really well in the States, and this album just continues that trend. So definitely go check out the Shadow Theory by Kamelot. I think you'll enjoy it.
Very good. I still
all I
need
got.
to listen to that.
Yeah, no, it's good. I really do recommend it. It's like I said, you might get more out of it than I will. But again, for me, the previous one, Haven, was, like I said, was so good that I really had to temper my expectations with this one, because you're not going to get that lucky twice in a row. And this, honestly,
I hear you.
It kind of fits how Kamelot's career has gone, because in the early days their albums kept getting better and better, and then they released the double album of Epica and the Black Halo, which was like top tier, and you remember that's some top tier level stuff. Well, the one immediately following that was a ghost opera, which is the one I mentioned earlier, that was good, had a lot of really good ones on it, had some that maybe were just not as good. Then they did an album after that, which was called Poetry for the Poisoned, which was very experimental. I like it more than most people do. A lot of people don't like it at all, but it was very experimental, very different. Then they brought in Tommy and did Silverthorn, and they were kind of back on the rise again. Then they hit Haven, which is, again, them kind of like hitting that top tier. So it's about time for them to do something that's maybe just kind of a little more experimental, a little more just kind of cleaning out the cobwebs. So this is very much fits with the ebb and flow of how Kamelot's discography has gone. But I still highly recommend this one. I actually found that by listening to Haven first and then listening to the Shadow Theory, I liked Shadow Theory a lot more, because it still had that sense of uniformity in the kind of sound they were trying to create.
Fair enough.
So yeah, check it out. I'm gonna listen to this. I haven't heard this Behemoth live disc you're talking about yet, so I want to listen to that later tonight.
Go on YouTube and look for it.
Oh, I will.
That's the only thing that I've listened to so far is that, that double LP stream. But it was nice.
Yeah, man. Thank you, by the way, those of you who put those up on YouTube. You are heroes. You're the unsung heroes of the internet.
Well, that was the record label. They were doing
well, good for them.
Yeah. I think you see that more on YouTube now than you used to, like full albums being up there.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot more, where you can search for a particular song, and rather than get somebody's crappy MP3 upload, it's actually like a legit upload of the song, like through Google. I think Google Music now puts the stuff on YouTube. Is what it is. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
They track streaming a lot more than they used to.
Yeah, they do. They really do. Nowadays, streams counts the same as sales, I guess. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't get it, but cool.
Advertisements.
Commercials and promos and ads.
Yeah. Enjoy all the ads in our show.
Yeah. They're all by me.
Well, not to mention the ones at the beginning, at the end, and the end.
Man, just yeah. Well, sooner or later, those will pay out eventually.
Yeah.
No,
one day,
maybe we'll see. But that's not why we do this, kids. We do this for the passion, not for the money. That's why you should give us more money, because we don't do it for the money.
No, maybe if we had more money, I could get a quieter computer.
Speaking of which, I do want to say this is the first episode of Track Record recorded on my new computer that was so expertly put together by Robert Yetter here.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, man.
My pleasure. I'm glad you like it, man.
I do. I love it. It's serving me well so far. Got some new programs on here and kind of updated some of my software, and it's great, man. You did a good job. So
cool.
All right. Well, we're at the point where I do feel like we have a show, Robert.
Sounds good. I think we do.
I think so too. And we will now part ways with you fine folks on the internet, and we'll be back next week. Same time, same day, same bat channel. And it'll be a lot of fun. Remember the old 60s Adam West Batman? Will the Dark Knight be able to escape his bonds from the Joker? Tune in next week. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
No.
Man, you need to watch some 60s TV.
No thanks, man.
Just a big cheese fest, man. It was awesome.
No. Cheese is not for me.
Cheese is not for Robert. He is lactose intolerant. He is not feeling the cheese.
No. Not today.
All right, man. All right, buddy.
All right, pimpin'.
All right, people at home. Y'all
all
be good
right,
now.
pimpins. Y'all be good.
Yeah. Remember, kids. If she's gonna sleep with you, make
use lotion
in the morning. Use lotion. Lots of lube. Lube is your friend.
No, I'm just saying in every day. That's just an everyday type of advice thing. Just use lotion.
No, it's good for your skin.
Yeah, I don't use it enough because I don't like the way it feels.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, no.
I don't put the lotions on my skin.
That's why you get the hose every day.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Obscure movie references are awesome.
Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey. Wednesdays on Eventide, Robert Yetter and Mike Shea sit down and throw albums at each other, talking about them, picking them apart, ripping them a new one. All different artists, all different genres, all different levels of suckage. It's Track Record, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on the Eventide podcast feed. For more information, go to eventideent.com.